to hear what they're going to talk about, relax today. Feel free to ask questions. It's a conversation, not an interview. All right? Remember that, and please remember my smile. Thank you so much.
So we want to get into our conversation, like you heard, and we're going to be asking a lot of questions whilst we're discussing. It's a discussion for all of us, although the panel is here to discuss some things, but we are all welcome to ask questions as we move along. Okay, so like Tari said, the women in this panel have a wealth of experience. We've got Margaret, who's had 29 years in human resource management. I don't know, before that, she probably has some more experience that's outside of that field. So, career-wise, she's been there, I think, for most of my life. She's been working. The same with Shangezai. And Laurels and myself, yeah, we're representing the younger ones, you know. We're not AMA 2K, but we're young, you know. And although we don't have as much experience, we'd also like to hear from the younger ones, you know. We've got so many questions that we hope the older ones in the room can also help us with. So it's sort of like bridging the gap. Okay, so we're gonna move on and we're gonna start and just talk about we're women. We've come here as women, and women in Zimbabwe, women in Africa, women from different types of backgrounds. And I would just like to pose a question first and foremost, like maybe starting from there, coming around the panel. Your experience generally as a career woman in Zimbabwe, what has that been like? We'll start with Margaret.
So, as a career woman working in Zimbabwe, the experience has been varied, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at our economic environment, you know, the phases that we've been through, they would also affect me as a woman in Zimbabwe. But what I'm so happy about is in terms of my career, where I worked, where I started, right? I started in the public sector, Chido, for 12 years, right? Yeah, and then left the public sector and joined professional services, right? This was an audit in advisory firm. Very interesting things happened there. I was servicing Zimbabwe and Malawi, human resource consulting, and it was a whole lot of experience. Yeah, the balancing, you know, young kids, being away from home, 30 days on time, 2 months, but it was interesting. Then I joined the telecoms industry. Also there, I learned a lot. And then eventually came to the healthcare industry, which is really my passion. But you realize that in all those like 4 phases of my career, there were a lot of takeouts. I learned a lot of things. Those 12 years in government, they built me, you know, resilience, following hierarchy in government, making do with whatever resources are available. You know, these days I actually joke with young ladies who can't drive manual cars. Guys, how is that so? In government, I used to drive this B16, hey, and it would not start sometimes.
Do some of you know what a B16 is?
B16. I actually used to move around with a small rope. Every time I want to start it, I would like go on, I would open the bonnet, go on the starter, poke it a bit, and then I start the car. And also sometimes it would not reverse, so I'd make sure that I park strategically. You know, all those are skills that. Oh, that I don't have to reverse. Yeah. And then when I was working for the professional services, the client interface, this was like coming from being in HR for a department to being in HR for many companies, right? You go in there, you want to put in a job evaluation, you go in there, performance management, you go in there, you're doing culture transformation. It was very interesting. The client interface was amazing, right? Telecoms as well, a lot of development there. And then coming to Cimas, it has been epic, right? It just has been epic. Working in the healthcare industry, a service industry, where we rely on people to achieve our purpose. It has just been awesome. So each and every phase of my career contributed to who I am today.
So, follow-up question, when did you realize that, you know what, I want to be in healthcare? Because it seems like you'd gone every other, When did you realize this is my passion? Were you already on the job, or did you pursue it?
Okay, so what I was pursuing was people management, right? Working with people, right? Because from the word go, I was always curious about human behavior. What drives human behavior? Why do people behave the way they behave, right? And I then ended up studying psychology, right? And then in the human resources space, I did a whole lot of things, counseling and so forth and so forth. So then getting into the healthcare industry, it wasn't as intentional, but I believe it was the icing on top of the cake, right? Where I was already somebody who was passionate about working for people, working with people and working for people in the service industry.
Wow, wow, what an experience. That's a pretty exciting journey, if you ask me. Like, I feel like you've lived 3 of my lives. Okay, so I want to ask Shongedzai, what made you choose where you're at now? Was it a choice, or you were just in there, then you found, where I'm at now is actually interesting?
What I can say is, growing up, I was really passionate to be in the medical field. So you find that my whole life I was in the medical field, where I ended up training as a nurse. But passionately, I really wanted to be a medical doctor. But life didn't allow that, because long back it was like, when you are growing up, you've got other siblings raised by a single mom. She couldn't let me go for A level, but that passion was still in me. I started in the municipal council as an accounts clerk. I was a person who really wanted to discover. I worked in the accounts clerk for about 2 years before I moved to nursing. And they had to ask me, why are you changing? We offered you a job. And I had to tell that was my passion growing up. I really wanted to be in a medical field. And when I joined nursing, I really excelled. Even the men whom I was studying with, the passion came out even with the results. I remember being the best student in Zimbabwe when I graduated. So I pursued my nursing in the government field. During that time, the nurses were not being offered work. You had to find the work for yourself. But because I was the best student, I was offered a place at Harare Hospital. I worked at Harare Hospital for about 7 years before I changed to work for a doctor at a surgery, being the nurse in charge there. Then, boom, I changed again. I came to Cimas in 2003. I started as a claims assessor. Then I rose through the ranks. What brought me to where I am, I can even for my life, is the positive mind which I had. I was so positive in life, in whatever I do. I remember when I was in grade 7, looking at my mom during our prayer sessions, I just stood up and said, Mom, don't worry. When I grow up, I want to buy a house for you. That was grade 7. So I've learned that in life, positivity will get you to wherever you want. And also will make you conquer any challenges which comes through in your life. And I can testify that at 19, I managed to buy my mother a house, because we were renting a 2-roomed house. And it was in me that I want to make this woman proud. She has gone through so much. So I really wanted, I think I matured early. So when I joined the care council, an opportunity came where they were adults, were given that opportunity. My salary couldn't even pay for the monthly contribution which they wanted, but I took it. Then I started to pay until I bought it for my mom. So the positive mind in me managed to put me through where I am. Even when I joined Cimas as a claims assessor, my journey is long. From a claims assessor, within a year, I was the team lead at Cimas. Within I think that's where I stayed most for about 15 years and the team lead. Then I was promoted to the assistant manager in the claims department after 15 years. Some may say, why 15 years? For me, that was a learning curve, so that I will be able to be answerable, to be accountable to other people. And when I became an assistant manager, it took me about 1.5 years before I was promoted to the current position of head claims, which I never thought, because I never applied for all those promotions. I was promoted during the ranks and I never applied. I was just doing my job diligently and being positive. So for me, positivity really kept me on, even through the challenges growing up. You know, I think you understand, being raised by a single mom, 6 children, and I'm happy that that woman really modeled us, because we all managed to pass through secondary school. And my secondary education was at Monte Cassino, and fees being paid by a woman who is selling tomatoes, vegetables. So that really motivated me. Thank you.
What a story! What a story! These ladies have a vast experience, just not even in the professional field, but just in life. Just a quick one. You are the firstborn?
Yes, I'm a firstborn in a family of 4 girls.
You're the
Third.
third?
Yes.
You're the only. Oh, that's it. But I'm also first, so we have a consensus here. Eldest daughters know what they're doing. I'm joking. I'm kidding. All right. We want to move on to Laurel's. You have your own experience. Yes, you're younger, but you have your own experience. By the way, Laurel's is team lead at Cimas Med Labs. She is doing 2 masters at once. Can you believe that? She's doing an MBA. She's doing also an MSc in genomics. What? Yeah, I don't quite get it, but yeah, that's some inspiration there. Tell us, Laurels, with your own little vast experience of life that you have. Of course, we're just relating it to the years that you've lived, but you have your own life experiences. What made you choose this path? Did you just grow up and be like, oh, I want to do genes, I want to be a scientist, I want to be in a lab? How did it go?
All right. Thank you, Chido. So, I think I'm more like Shongedai. I wanted to be a doctor initially. So, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I was a geek in primary school, high school. Books were my friends. But when I got to A level, I didn't get 15 points. And when I applied, I had no idea what I'm going to do at varsity. So I just chose which one required the points that I had. Then I picked the best 3 that I could get, and I applied. Fortunately, I was with my friend. We applied the same programs. Unfortunately, she didn't get in. She had more points than me. She didn't get in. I got into the program. I always wondered why. But then things happen. Life happens. She ended up in another field. But that's how I ended up being a scientist. Then when now I have the place, I researched what it was about. Okay, I'm like, this is interesting. I'd never seen a medical laboratory scientist in my life. And now when I'm researching the field, I'm saying, oh, okay, this is interesting. I want to do this. Going to varsity, I got to my part 3. I met this person who told me about genetics. They were doing their PhD research, and I was just talking to them. It was a student association thing. I was the vice president for the student association for my program. So we went for a networking event. I was talking to him, telling him, I don't know what I want to do yet, specialize in, but I want to know what's there. Then he said, come to the lab and I'll show you what we do. That's when I got my first hands-on experience with genetics and DNA. They showed me this big lab with big machines. When I got back to school, I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know how I was going to get there because there were no programs being offered in Zimbabwe for the genetics, but I knew I wanted to be there. So he mentored me through part 3, part 4, And then I did a project with them, which was in genetics also. So now when people were asking me, how did you end up with this project? It was a funny experience. Of all the people, how did I pick that one particular guy and say hi to him? I was very shy, typical geek behavior. You shy away in the corner, but that one person, and it defined my whole career. So here I am. I finished my undergrad at UZ and went for internship at Cimas. There was no genetics department at Cimas, no genetic testing in Zimbabwe, only the closest is South Africa. So my thinking was now I still want to work. I come from a low income earning family. I still want to work. I cannot afford to leave my job and go and study and still look after my parents, and my siblings are still going to school. So I had to find a plan. I applied a number of master's programs in genetics, but it was either you get the place, you don't get the funding. You don't even get the place. You're told you're too young, little experience. At some point I lost hope because all I felt like I was trying too hard to do something that could not be achieved. But when I had lost all hope, that's when the innovation program was done in 2022. And that's when the idea of genetic testing was introduced to Cimas. I thought when everyone, I had been telling, I always tell people what I want to do. I want this thing that's interesting. And people will be like, Laura is always talking about funny things we don't understand. So when I told people, when people heard about the genetic testing, they always thought L'Oreal knows these things. So that's how I kind of got pushed into the field. And naturally, everyone would come and ask, "Do you know about this? Do you know?" Then I didn't know anything. I would go and research and write down what I knew. And when I come back, I tell people, this is how you do it. This is how it, and they think I have this vast knowledge. But it was basically me trying to just push myself into the field. So at the end of the day, when now the department could be introduced, I was the most interested person available. So for me, it was a matter of visibility. I wasn't that much qualified, but I knew what I wanted to do at that point. So for me, the most defining time for my career was that point. But now, I told you I'd been applying for the master's programs and not getting funding. Then I quit. I decided I'm going to do an MBA. Maybe this is what's meant for me. I'll find something I'll do with the MBA and be a manager somewhere. Halfway into a quarter, maybe 4 months into the MBA, I got the master's scholarship for the the MSc in genomics. So that's how I ended up doing two masters at the same time. I had no choice, but I'm here now and I'm doing it and I'm going to complete it. So that's my life story, how I ended up here. But basically, my interest is growing, and I really look forward to having other women in science and research to join me and understand that this is possible. And also, another highlighting factor in my life as a young professional, trying to be a leader, a young leader within an environment where everyone is way older than you. They always look at you with this eye. Like, what are you saying? So, trying to navigate relationships with people who are older than you, keeping the respect in balance, and also keeping them in check so that they can respect you as a leader is one of the highlighting moments in my career. But it's a learning curve, and you learn as you go. So, that's basically my life story. Thank you.
Wow, what a trailblazer, eh? She is the youngest team lead at Cimas Medlabs. I don't know if she's the youngest in Cimas. She might be. I don't know. I have to do that research. But what a story, and so inspiring because young people, I'll say this in Shona, like you don't know what you're saying, you don't have life experience, so just calm down. But you know what? We have also we want to get somewhere and we want to introduce new things, not just because they're new, but we have vision. And I'm so glad Laurel's is one of those women. Today we're just talking about women. Such inspiring stories, and I bet you there's so many inspiring stories in the crowd. We're happy to have you today. My next question would be, as a woman, have you faced any challenges because of your gender when it comes to your career path, when it comes to trying to prove yourself just because you're a woman? Did you face any of that, and how did you overcome it?
For me, I believe if there were those biases or those gender restrictions, because I proved what I could bring to the boardroom, because I proved the value that I could bring to the business, I think it helped me navigate those spaces. So I would say that, you know what, I didn't really face those, because I would then gain respect from my male colleagues, because they knew what I was bringing to the business, right? Also, the other way that I would handle that, the issue of biases, building alliances and networks with both women and men. I tell you, a lot of things are just finalized in the boardroom, but they will have been discussed elsewhere, right? And positions will have been taken elsewhere. So I made sure that, and I still make sure that I have alliances, right? From both sides of the gender, male, female, I have networks, right? And it's important. It helps in trying to bridge those preconceived biases, right? Those notions, right? So, two main things that I did, right? Show my competence, show my expertise, show value. In HR, I'm the business advisor. They should listen to me because I know what I'm saying. I'll tell them that, you know what, this labor case, it will get to the Supreme Court. You need to do this. They have to listen to me because I'm the advisor. I'll tell them that, you know what, for us to foster an environment, a culture that will make our people deliver, this is what you need to do. So time and time you are proven correct. Time and time you work hard. Time and time you are confident, right? And you tell your story, right? You get that respect, and whatever biases people may have, they'll then just fall away. For us as women, we also need to tell our story, right? Show our success stories. Initially, growing up, I was of the opinion that I will let the work of my hands speak for me. But it's no longer like that. Articulate your achievements. I tell you, people may just choose not to even see the works of your hands. Do you know? So sometimes you need to make news about what you do, make news about your achievements, make news about the value that you have added to the business. And if anyone has those biases, if anyone has those preconceived ideas, then you know what? They'll just disappear, they'll just go away. Yeah, so that's how I've managed really to navigate on the issue of the gender biases.
That's very interesting, because I think um, that's what I admire from this new generation. We just at our office there, we just call them Amatuke. We don't know you're 2000 and what, you know. They look like Vanedzungu, like what we're saying, but it's that what you're talking about. They want to be seen, and they don't wait for you to be like, oh, you did such good work. They're just gonna tell you, I did a good job. This is what I did. I need a pay raise. And if you don't do this, I'm gonna leave this job. And I do admire that. Of course, unfortunately for us, what are we? What are we? Which generation are we? Millennials, yes. We are in between you and the Amatuke. So we've got a little bit of no, if you do this, you'll get fired. But we also want to be there where we're like, I know my stuff, I know my rights. So it's a tricky situation. I'm not giving my own life experience here now. It's a tricky situation trying to balance. Listen, I do understand there's some protocol and whatnot and etc. And I should just let the work of my hands show. But at the same time, I don't need to wait for you, because I know how good I am. I know what I bring to the table per se, and I need to communicate that. So, very interesting lesson from Margaret there. Shongezai, did you face any challenges?
I can say my profession is female dominant, but where I think I faced some challenges when I started my IT degree. I was old at 48. I wanted to do, I did BBM and IT. And when we started, the male people whom we had, the students, First semester, you are all doing the same thing, BBM and BBMIT. Then second semester, you have to choose. They say to us, no, all ladies should join BBM only. Don't do IT, it's male dominant. And I remember we were the only two ladies who joined BBM and IT. We faced some criticism. Will you know how to code, especially you at your age? And being me, as positive as I am, I said I would take it. At first, it was not really easy, coding, programming, but I said I would take it. Then when it came to the dissertation, we had to do a project. And being me, the project which I chose was in the medical field, in systems, and I came up with a project which was brilliant. I had a distinction. Wow. Coding, and finally 2-1, my final degree. And those male who were criticizing me, I think during the course of the course, they wanted to be with me because I would encourage them. Most of them were very young. I would encourage, let's do it, we'll do it. And every time, the whole of my course, I didn't have a carry until I graduated. And I was the only female in my group who had a distinction for the project, the practical one, even defending it. So I am someone who is very positive. If it can be done by a human being, I can also do it, no matter male or female. In my career, I can say maybe because of who I am, I never noticed that they were male. I'll do my job and someone will notice, and I'm here.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I think, Laurels, you already told us that there was a little bit of a challenge because generally, even today, people don't understand, myself included. Like, I'm trying to learn what is genomics. She's taken us through, a number of presentations, but sometimes we can be very ignorant, and you've already alluded to that challenge. Is there anything else as a young person, in the corporate world that you face that you can say, listen, as a young woman, I'm going through this 1, 2, 3 challenge, or I conquered this 1, 2, 3 challenge?
Okay, thank you, Shido. So I I got promoted to team lead. I graduated in 2020. I got promoted to team lead in February 2022. And when I got the position, I was in team lead microbiology. So that's when I had a very diverse team. Microbiology is like the oldest specialization in our field. So the people there will obviously be way older than you. So some of the ways that I realized how people would respect you, especially new people, I started doing my hair so that I'll look older. It worked for some time. It worked for some time because people would listen to you more. They assume you're older. But then at the end of the day, it's what you bring to the table, like we said, what you have up there and the leadership qualities that you have. So they still have to accept that you are the leader. And you are the one who is in charge. So one of the things was just I had to compromise my self-worth. It wasn't really that I wanted to do that, but I thought it's working. But I left that strategy. I feel like I need to be as feminine as possible and unapologetically feminine because I am woman and I'm going to be there. If I have the capacity to do the job, I will do it as woman as I am. So that's my key take home for everything that I've experienced.
Wow, wow, wow. Such inspiring stories, because this was the question I was going to have from my own experience, the challenge that I think I've faced in the number of years that I've been in the corporate world is I don't know how. I just don't. I want to be, like Laura was saying, she could see where she was going. I know where I want to go, but I just don't know how. And I think already I've been answered positivity, and Margaret said have a network. And I think that's very imperative because sometimes the things that stop us as women is you don't know anyone. And sometimes it's about who you know, to be honest. Even in your own company, in your own corporate, you want to do like a little event thing, you've got a brilliant idea. Where do you even start? You don't even know. So it's important to also have a network. And like Laurels is saying, listen, be yourself, be authentically woman, be authentically feminine. You don't have to change yourself to get to where you're going. Very interesting stuff here. And the next question I'll have is, obviously, as women, we need to take care of ourselves. But as African as we are, like you were saying, you're the eldest daughter. You also have siblings. Although you are an only child, you also have your own responsibilities, right? You are married to somebody. You have children. At some point, probably you will have grandchildren, or you already have. Those are all responsibilities that you have. And then you have to come here and spend 8 hours here. How do you balance? How do you manage home, work life? You know, you've got a demanding career, but home is there as well, and the people at home are waiting for you to give them the attention that they need. How do you balance that?
Okay, thanks, Chido. A very important question. For me, from the work front, right, I will call it self-advocacy. I make sure that I articulate my needs, right? In the workplace, what are my needs, right? And these needs, they will also speak to issues that will give me fulfillment as a person, right? Fulfillment as a mother, fulfillment as a woman. So ladies, never shy away from self-advocacy. Make sure that your needs at the workplace are articulated, that you are clear in terms of your needs. It's very important, right? When I'm looking at the home front, well, I prioritize myself. I do prioritize myself. I've made sure that I create the necessary boundaries. Like I earlier on said that I'm the firstborn, I'm very close to my mother, right? She stays in Chitungiza there, and I'm in Waterfalls. She comes to Chitungiza, to Waterfalls a lot of the times, right? And I've told my maid that when my mother comes, you let her take whatever is at this place, at this homestead, right? Because she's my mother. There are only two things that you will not give her, right? Firstly, car keys. She can't drive. If she asks you for one of the car keys for the cars parked out there, you say, go, no, because you don't drive, right? And the second thing, don't give her Cimas regalia. Cimas branded regalia, because I don't know where she will take that to. But otherwise, if it's meat in the fridge, if it's my clothes, no matter if it's one that I got from Little Harrods or from whatever designer shops or wherever, even from outside the country, you can give her, right? What am I saying? Despite all that love that I have for her, she knows that if she just rocks up and says, Margaret, can you accompany me to our village in Chitungiza without notice? I will not agree. You get it? She has to give me a notice like 6 weeks ahead to say, you know what, please, can you drive me to Njanja, Mamoyo? Can you drive me to Njanja? And then I plan accordingly. Because I realized that the moment I was trying to be everything to everyone, I suffered, ladies. I suffered. And in my good-naturedness, I would try to please everyone, right? If mother-in-law, when she was still alive, says this, I want to go do that. If this one says that, I want to do that. But then I said, no, it cannot work. Remember, we always talk about not being able to pour from an empty cup. I was getting empty, right? And I was growing bitterness. So I taught myself to do what I can do, right? But the thing about me is, if I fail to show up and I tell you I can't show up, the next time I show up, I'll go all out. Yes. 3 weeks ago, I was leading, actually started 2 months ago. My mother's parents, we needed to put tombstones for them. I was leading the project with like 45 Vazukuru, right? It was an amazing thing. They were like, wow, your leadership qualities. I'm like, don't you know the kind of things that I do at work? I actually lead way bigger projects than this. This was easy peasy, right? So yes, I don't show up for everything, but what I show up for, I make sure I do my best. When I turn somebody down, they know that next time I'm available, I'll be available for them, and I'll do my utmost best, right? So that's the issue of boundaries, right? And then when also I'm looking at issues to do with self-care, I make sure I wake up at 4:30 every day. Let me share about my routine, because establishing routines is important, right? Establishing rituals is important. I wake up at 4:30 every day, right? 4:30 to 5 o'clock, I am doing my prayers, my devotionals, right? I'm doing my prayers, I'm doing my meditation, I do my affirmations. I am strong, I am empowered, I am able, I can do it, I am favored, I am forgiven, I am redeemed, right? Because along the life journey, we make a lot of mistakes, ladies, a lot of mistakes, and I don't want those mistakes to hold me back, right? I always say that I'll never allow my yesterday to keep me from enjoying my tomorrow, right? Yes. So I do those self-affirmations. Then from 5 to 6, right? Sometimes I would be coming to the gym, but these days I've got a trainer in the local area. 5 to 6, I'm doing my workouts, right? My boxing, my whatever. Ladies, I enjoy that. 6 o'clock, I'm going to bath, right? 6:30, I'm reversing, I'm coming to work. So for me, the important thing is internal self-alignment first before I come here and meet people. Because we are in Zimbabwe. People are going through a lot of stuff. If I will not have sought self-alignment first, how can I help Tari there? Right? How can I help Chido here? I will not be able to do that. The moment I have so much in my heart, then I will not be able to be of use to people that I'm supposed to help. So for me, it's first, Shinake Mumoyo, Shanaka Mumoyo. Once it's good internally here, I know I can do whatever. And even if we have people that want to come and upset you, I always say to myself, these people have to work harder than me to be able to upset me. Because the way I've prepared for myself, the way I've prepared for the day, unless you come and tell me that you have had your devotionals for 1 hour and you have exercised for 2 hours, then you'll be able to upset me. Otherwise, I will not give you my joy. I will not. Because I will have worked very hard for that self-alignment, right? I will have worked very, very hard for it. So I also guard it jealously. It's difficult for people to make me upset. Very, very difficult for them to do that, right? Issues to do with flexibility and adaptability, I think it's very important as well. If I can give an example, my last 2 kids were in boarding, Form 1 to 4, right? And then when it came to A level, they just said, Mama, we are not going back to boarding. I'm like, but, what are you saying? Do you know the problems with Zimbabwe transport system? The traffic, even the time, right? And that time their father was out of the country. I was the only parent here in Zimbabwe, right? But the young girl said, Mama, I've done everything that can be done at that school. I'm feeling suffocated. I want a bigger school. I want to try out more things, right? I then looked at myself, the comfort that I had alone, no school run and everything, trading it and sacrificing it for my daughter's future. You know, it was something else. But you know what? I then said, I will agree to it, right? I agreed to it, but I took it as a project. How am I going to make sure that I cope? I can't do school run every time. She wants to be by this school at 7 a.m., the other wants to be at that school by 7 a.m., and my daughter was doing all sorts of things. Mama, I'm going for model UN at Cheese. Mama, I'm going for debate at Arundel. Mama, we are going to Chinoy for volleyball. Mama, she was the captain of the volleyball team, and I was the chairperson of the volleyball club, meaning that I would be following the bus every weekend, right, to all those places. But I made sure that I would do it in such a way that I'll cope. I asked for help. Ladies, even at work, delegate. Delegate, let your team help you. Even at home, you've got sisters, you've got uncles. Ask for help. Don't ever try to be a superwoman. It doesn't work. You get sick, right? And you know the connection between mental health and physical health. Right, never shy away from looking for help. I got help. I also made some sensible arrangements. Got them cars, made sure that they get their driver's license, right? Got them cars, right, to drive themselves. I'll drive them sometimes, but most of the time they'll drive themselves. And for my peace, I made sure that I put a tracker on both cars, or to know where they would be at any point in time. I even asked the trekking company to send me spreadsheets every morning, right? To show me how many minutes did they idle, sittings were they idling, how many minutes did they stop where, and so forth and so forth. And it gave me peace of mind. So in terms of coping, ladies, prioritize yourselves. If it's a takeaway that you can get from me, prioritize yourselves, ask for help, right? It's important that you get help from home and also even from work. I think I talk a lot, but for now, I think let me stop there.
All right, I think Margaret has covered a lot there, so I want to ask another question to Shonge. How can our workplaces support us as women so we are better able to juggle our personal and professional lives? We are not minimizing the fact that men also have their responsibilities and they have their things going on, but women generally, especially in our African culture, burden most of the burden. That is a fact. Everybody knows that. So, how can our workplaces accommodate us and all these burdens that we are carrying? What can we do better in our company so that women feel supported when it comes to work life balance?
I think for that one, I can bear witness. Let's be innovative in our workplace. I think in my department, I've got the largest number of people who are working from home. And be confident with your teammates that they can do it. Because at times you want to micromanage where you say, I want to see what you are doing. I'm comfortable where they are. 75% of the team is working from home now and they are performing. And we need to speak out for ourselves what we want. And also even juggling with home, women, let's be comfortable delegating whatever we want done and accept others. I can speak of myself with the issues of maids. Those people can help. I was one person when I was still doing my nursing, where you need to do night duty. The shifts were just erratic, but I was also one person who wanted to see everything done my way. And I have kids also. I've just been married, but I wanted things being done my way. At times, I wake up at 4 a.m., wash my nappies. We didn't have pampers, but it was draining me. And one day, my mom had to sit me down. And when I leave that maid, I want to see things perfect. That was me. She had to sit me down and say she had also worked as a cook and a nanny for the white boys. And she just told me jokingly, saying, if you want everything perfect, do like what the whites used to do. Have a nanny for the kids only. Have another maid for cleaning. If you want speaking span, like you say, you have to choose. If you don't have the money, you have to choose what you want most important. If it's your kids who are important, just look for a maid who is good with kids. Everything else will follow. Your speak and span will drain you. Just choose what you want. So at times we have to speak for ourselves, and as at home, I'm one person, if my husband knows, I speak out. As quiet as I am, I speak my mind, I communicate. What I cannot do, I tell him I cannot do. Even my late mother-in-law, people would say when you are going kumusha, you should go there, kunorima, kanoana agenda kumunda. Go with them. I would speak to my mother-in-law. This one I can't. Ini ndiri kutorima kutaundi mama. Kutaundi ndiri kurima. If you want fertilizer, I'll give you. If you want people who can help you, I cannot be all over. When I come to Musha, I need to rest. I do what I can do. And I remember my mother-in-law used to wake up very early. He was in early bed. I was not. 4 a.m. So what she could do, I think she was a good woman. What she could do when she wake up at 4 a.m., she would go to garden. So that I won't notice kuti vanditangira kumuka. Idi pandozomuka kuma 6, 7 kwangu kuyada kutanga kuti kitchen. I think mother-in-law is there, she's not there. Because when I went into that family, I told them what I can do and what I cannot do. And they accepted me like that. What I can do, I can do. If you need provision, I can provide. But I can't do. That was me. So even at workplaces, we need to speak out, we need to innovate, we need to vouch for our teammates and protect them. Because I remember Margaret asking, how are you going to monitor them? And I said, they can do it. And we had to prove it that they can do it. So most of them, they're working from home. So if you are working woman working from home, and they work flexible hours, as long as you perform, as long you work your stipulated working hours, even if you start at 4 and 7.5 hours is achieved, your target is achieved, I'm okay with that. I won't micromanage you.
Did you hear that, ladies? Are we being inclusive? That's a powerful point. Listen, your teammates, trust them that they can do their job. Give them the flexibility for them to do that whilst managing their home lives. That's a very powerful statement. And I liked what she said about telling her in-laws, listen, this is what I can do. Can you take it or can you not? So that you manage people's expectations. They have things that they expect of you, they communicate. You have your expectations, you communicate as well. For your information, this is the first point in marriage counseling. Have you communicated your expectations? I'm just putting it out there. Okay, that was very, very interesting. And I wanted to ask Laurels, of course, you've given us your thoughts on how to manage your in-laws and such, but I want a younger voice to talk about. Please talk to us single ladies. You are the one who is recently married. You are just, and you are young. Talk to us about the transition in these modern times, these 2020s and whatnot. How did you manage your transition from I am a scientist, I'm single, I'm independent, now I'm someone's wife? And yet I have to be team lead elsewhere. And then I have to come home and be someone's wife. Tell us about that transition. How did you manage your work-life balance coming from singlehood to now I'm married?
Sorry, Chido, before she comes in, I just want to make a disclaimer. When I said I communicated to my in-laws, do it in a nice way. Yes. Don't be arrogant. Please do it in a nice way, and also let your husband know. I communicate this I cannot do. This I do, but in a nice way. Don't be arrogant and be caught off guard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chido. I think I can summarize it in one word. You. Okay, so our mothers do a great job. Bless their hearts. They protect us from a lot of things when we are girls. Once you get married, it's like a door has been opened. Your problems, your husband's problems, your in-laws' problems, your mother's problems, everything is just, you are an adult now. You can handle it. No one prepares you enough for that. But it's not all bad. You just need, at first for me, it was a struggle, realizing that I'm now an adult. I said I'm an only daughter. I have 3 brothers, and 2 are older than me. Well, now all of them have wives. So now I'm the tete. And whenever they have their problems, they come to me. Like, I'm a child. I don't even know what I'm doing in my own marriage, and you're coming to me with your problems. So that's one thing. Then on my side, I said I'm an only daughter. On my husband's side, I'm an only daughter-in-law. So they are 2 in their family. His sister also sees me as the elder sister. So trying to juggle that, being the sister, being a daughter to 2 mothers, it's also another hassle. It has its downfalls, it has its advantages, but you need to be as respectful as possible. Sometimes they'll try you to your last nerve, but you are a child, and you went into that family as a child. And you have to respect them as a parent, and also the boundaries. I actually am learning on that, trying to establish boundaries with family members. My mother actually has a nickname for me. She calls me Mtuli. Because with finances, recently I discovered I really need to stand my ground. No matter how young I may be in the family, I need to stand. Because even the older brothers will come to you and tell you, you need to do this for the family. You need to. So those are some of the challenges that you'll be facing. But try to learn as soon as possible how they navigated their relationships with their in-laws and their parents. Because as parents, another thing that I realized, our mothers were also girls who got married. They tried to make it with what they had. And we are their hopes. So now when the hope has made it, the picture they see my mother seeing me sitting here right now, will be like, wow, that's my daughter who would go to school with one pair of stockings and wash them every day. You see, so the picture that she sees is different from what I think my life is like. So she'll be thinking you can do anything for her. Of course, we try, but we need to set those boundaries and do what we can. And when we cannot, politely say we set the boundaries. And just to add, with communicating with your partner, we are still growing. I've been married for almost 2 years now. So we are still growing, and we've learned that whenever we decide something, no matter how unfair it may seem to any side of the family, as long as we are a team, it makes more sense to everyone. Whenever one person just slides, your decision will be questioned by everyone, and someone comes through the back door and tries to convince you, no, you need to do this. So whatever you decide, no matter how absurd your decision is, as long as you stand on your decision, both of you. So that's basically what life as a young married woman is. But it's good. It's fun. Enjoy it. I'm enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to more and to better growth as I go. And I plan to be kind to myself. I cannot keep the house clean all the time. I cannot say I'm winning at work, I'm winning with my exercise routine, I'm winning at home. So as a wife, as a daughter, there's one thing that will suffer, one or two things. So when you win at some point, celebrate it. When you win with your exercise routine, celebrate that. When you win with your home, it's speak and span with people who like the white walls. When your home is white and everything, enjoy that because you did your best. You did what you could and ask for help. I think that's all I can say.
Giving ourselves grace. What a powerful lesson. We don't do that very often because as Africans, we were never taught that. You can't let things slide. You can't just, no, you must be perfect. So I think this is a big lesson for us. Give yourself grace. Pace yourself. The life is yours to live, and you need to take time to live it. All right. And we're going to wrap up. We're going to wrap up with one last question. What advice would you give a woman in this room who wants to have it all? I want it all. I want to be, a superwoman. I want the great job that pays well. I want my children to be well behaved. I want to be the perfect wife. I want to be the trendiest single lady in the room. I want to walk in a boardroom and people give me respect. I want it all. What advice would you give me?
Thanks, Chido. A very interesting question. But you know what? I would start answering that question by asking a question. What does have it all mean? I believe that is a very personal statement. And having it all is a personal journey, right? My all may not be Shongedzai's all, right? So, if I want to have it all, the first thing is I should define what my all is. Once I'm clear that this is my all, I then need to start work at achieving that all. And for me in the workplace, I would say the issue of articulating your needs as a woman, right? Make sure that you are understood is very important. Make sure that things that fulfill you as a person are known by the team that you work with, right? So that they know that this Margaret likes, this she accepts, this she doesn't accept, right? Okay, and then also as a woman, right, in trying to get it all, make sure that you continue learning. continuous killing and reskilling. Yes. Even also unlearning. Okay? Also unlearn, right? At work as well, make sure that, like I said earlier on, build alliances, get mentors. I am a product of serious mentoring. Get mentors, get coaches. They will help you. It's important that you do that. Leadership training is also very important for you, right? So that you can grow in your career. And then at home, it's still the same thing that I talked about earlier on, right? Make sure that your boundaries are clear. Make sure that you also indulge yourself. I love white linen. I wish I could show you my bedroom, ladies. I'm a sucker for white linen. I get other small things that I give myself so that, things that make me happy, right? Like my white linen, right? I also make sure that I have fun. I don't know whether because I've been a mother of teenagers, guys, if you see me at a mud run, I'll be in mud, swimming in mud, right? If you see me attending a Cimas marathon or whatever marathon, I'll be dancing my heart out, right? She talked about bringing your authentic self, showing up in an authentic way. It's important. Ladies, living double lives is tiring. For me, what you see is what you get. Sandito, this was this. People like sometimes they comment on my status, even my mfundis. Oh, Mamuri Jabrez. And I said, yes, mfundis. It was very nice. I enjoyed it. Mamuri yes, it was good, mfundis. I enjoyed it. It was a great show. I don't hide anything from people because I believe I am that authentic. You need authentic leadership, right? The moment people know that you pretend, the younger generation, I know they give each other a lot of pressure. They are one person on X, they are the other person on Facebook, they are the other person on this platform. I think it's too tiring. It's very, very tiring. So, in having it all, be authentic, know what you want, get the necessary support, build networks, seek mentorship, articulate your needs, whether it's in the workplace or at home, and know what having it all means to you because it's a personal journey. I think that's what I can say, Chido.
I think for me, what has helped me, but starting off as a young lady, it was really difficult. Like I said, when I got married, I wanted things done my way, and I had to let go some of the things which I needed to be done. Being myself has really helped me know what I want. You cannot be everywhere, and where you need help, seek help. I can I think I can tell to the young women, this I learned from my mother, like I said, with these maids which we have. I think for my first son, I don't know how many times I changed maids because of that. I want things done my way, and people should be me. If I want to be myself, let that maid be herself. So I ended up choosing what I want, like to accept her as she is. She was good with my children from my second born. She was very good. And that mattered most for me. So this issue of wanting to have a matriculate house when you are still having kids is near to impossible. If you are living, like I was working as a nurse, you know the duties, you are hardly at home. So I had to learn that I had to give this woman space, be herself. She was very good with my kids and accepted. She was very good at cooking. But when it comes to cleaning, some other people ask me, how have you stayed with this? They think that she's perfect. She's not. I accepted where she was good, where she was not. I would chip in or advise her, not me taking care of everything at times. During the weekends, we can do it together. My dear, let's do this. At home, we even call her a CEO. That's her space. I'm not always at home. We call her CEO. I've been with her for 18 years. That has helped me a lot to accept her and to relieve myself from knowing it all and having it all done, and I do my things at my own pace. I don't rush home because I know someone is taking care of that, so that I will perform at my workplace when I'm needed. At times, there's a lot of pressure here. I can have pressure here at work and pressure at home. And I also take care of myself doing exercise every day after work. I know my stress will be up here, the pressure from Margaret, the pressure from everyone, from my teammates, the pressure from the members. I'm up here. So at 4:30, I make sure I go for exercise every day. Unless I'm not here, I exercise. And that exercise, ladies, don't take it for granted, especially for mental health. That will help you. I've discovered that if I don't go for my exercise, I don't sleep well. It takes me time to sleep. I don't know, whether it's addictive. I don't know. But if I go for my exercise, I sleep like a baby till tomorrow. I forget about everything which has gone during the day. So I chose the evening exercise, and like Margaret, I won't cope if I do the morning ones. So I'm not an early bird also. Like say, life is a journey. There's no formula. You, you create your own formulas, but be yourself. Be yourself and self-introspect always, even if you are interacting with others. You are yourself, but you are in a community. You also need to interact with other people well. So don't also stay in a cocoon. At the same time, you respect yourself and your values.
Okay, before Laurel's comments on that as well, yes, I wanted to say those are very, very good points. Exercise is important. It's good for your mental health as well. And I think what we've picked up from this is be very self-aware. If you're not self-aware, you walk someone else's journey, and then 20 years into it, you're like, but this is not what I want. And then you have to start again. So be very self-aware. Know what you want, know what your expectations are, know yourself inside and out. And Laurels will be the last to comment on that.
All right. Thank you, Shido. So, just to add on the issue of exercise. So, our generation is used to, highly fast-paced things, highly active. Like, even now, the most addictive social media platform is TikTok. It's a short video, very highly activating, so much dopamine being released, and you have to enjoy. You are enjoying the whole of the 30 seconds. Your brain is highly active. So naturally, we become people who have so much noise going on in our heads. We're thinking, we're planning, the mental load that we have as women, our ability to multitask give us so much going on in our mind. So that 1 hour of exercising, maybe 3 days a week, is the only time that, for me, my brain shuts down. It goes quiet, there's peace, no one is asking you anything, it's just you listening to your body. Where is it painful, where does it hurt, which part is tired? And the sleep, of course, because once you are highly activated, we are watching TikTok before you sleep, you can barely relax. So active exercising will get you active, you burn more energy, and then you can relax more. That is very beneficial. That's how I manage the 2 masters that I'm doing. Then just to add another thing to comment on trying to have it all, I think you can have it all, but do you have to? And also write down your all. In my family, we have a strategy, me and my husband, we have a strategy of trying to manage how we set our goals for the whole year. We divide it into 4 parts. So 3 of those goals will be like small things that you can achieve. These are just time. You just need time to achieve those things. Then there's just one big thing. So you distribute them throughout the year. When you are done with your first 3 months, you review how far did we go? What did we do? What did we do wrong? And then the next part, you're now moving to the next goal. And when you're done with the big goal, reward yourself. Reward yourself for the job well done. And you realize that if you're consistent with that, the focus that you have in trying to achieve those small things, it's more rewarding when you achieve something and you give yourself a prize for that. But when you don't achieve that goal, you feel bad when you're trying to spoil yourself. You're like, but I didn't achieve anything. Yeah, so that's basically it. Write down your all that you define as this is my all that I want. Then pace yourself as you want to get to your all. That is all from me.
Wow, ladies, I know it's been a mouthful. We've been talking a lot. But we want to take one or two questions. Do we have time for that? Yes, we do.
My question is directly to Margaret, since you're in HR. I just wanted to find out, as professional women, how do we communicate our needs, especially to male bosses who might not have an appreciation of the challenges that we face, maybe as young mothers? You're trying to balance work and life at the same time. How then do you put that across, not as a demand, but maybe as a humble request? How do you put that across to male bosses?
The issue of advocacy, whether it's self-advocacy or you're advocating for your fellow women in the business setup, it's an important one, right? For the male bosses, you need to show them what's in it for them when they provide supportive policies for women in the workplace, right? Show them what's in it for them. If we are suggesting that let's have child care facilities on the ground floor for our children, can we have a lactation room, right? Can we have benefits that cover, things that people don't talk about, like menopause, right? If the company can afford, right, can they give us a subsidy for our helpers? You have heard what she said about her helper, right? For me, I also cannot function without my helper, right? Those things that I've talked about, show them that if you give us support in this area, how is it going to affect our productivity? Because in the business, everything goes back to the balance sheet. Unfortunately or unfortunately. Because now when you come up with suggestions that the business believes are wishy-washy and they're not adding to the bottom line, they will not listen to you. They will not. They will not. Show the business benefit, right? That, you know what, if you're going to allow me to get this counselor where we can send our women all the time when they have problems, right? So that they are empowered to face head on whatever challenges that they are facing, then they'll be able to show up equipped at work. Then they'll be able to show up to do the right thing, right? So yes, not everything can be reduced to numbers, but show them, convince them the benefit of having that balanced woman in the workplace. We are in a service industry. Our women are 52%, our men are 48%, right? So we are saying for our women to deliver that lion's share, because they are the bigger also percentage, what should we do as a business? How do we foster that environment that enables them to achieve their best? So yes, show them what's in it for them and what's in it for the business, right? And then they'll start listening to you. Without reducing it to numbers, without reducing it to those benefits, it may be very difficult to convince them. That would be my response.
Hi, ladies. I think that was very insightful. I think I'd like to direct my question maybe to all of you, but mostly to Laurel. How have you managed to? I think we're all about growth. We are, as women, we want to further educate ourselves and still balance your family and your life. So, how have you managed to deal with education at the same time with family? How have you managed to fit it in and grow both in areas that you're good at and areas that you have no idea about? Especially, maybe let's say, I'm trying to say, like, maybe as you're a scientist, I'm a doctor, right? You want to branch out, you want to learn more about business and things like that, but you've got a lot going on in life. How have you managed that?
I think I can start on that one. I was one person, like I said, I only ended up doing Form 4 because of family challenges. I didn't manage to go for A level so that I can go to university, which was also my passion. But when I finished my nursing, I could sponsor myself. But I was married. Then in 2008, I engaged in the counseling degree. That was my passion. Like I said, if you know what you want, you can create time. It draws down to planning. So I was working at Cimas when I started my counseling degree in 2008. I would go after hours for the lessons and weekends. You have to create time, like I said. That's where you need now those helpers, where you need to appreciate them. They are there to help you wherever you are. If you are at work, you have got colleagues, they also help you. You have to delegate, like what Margaret said. I did my counseling degree, and also with my madness, I started the BBM and IT degree in 2018. I was at my peak of my career also. I'm growing, being promoted at the same time, a challenging job. I want to go to work, so I normally went to school after hours, and I would create time, communicate with my bosses. I'm going to school, I need time. Communication is essential so that people knows what you want. People knows what you want to impact. So when I started all my degrees, I had to communicate even to HR. I'm starting this program. To my boss, I'll be going to school from such and such a time so that he doesn't have expectation during those times, during weekends. At home, I also communicated, I need time. So they can also give me my space. And I'm also not a nuisance to those who are helping me at home so that I can balance.
So, guys, let us clap hands for our panel as they take a step down. She knows she can fly away. Oh, she got both feet on the ground and she's burning it down. Oh, she got her head in the clouds and she's not backing down. I feel like we are all on fire, regardless of age. I also feel like today we have opened up a bit of a Pandora's box here at Cimas Igo. Haven't we? No, I have a vision that this initiative will grow bigger. I have a vision that we will refine this as time goes. And I'm excited because everybody here is well educated. Everyone here has got a life experience. So, if you're here today and if you're watching us from home or in your office or wherever, we are opening up a platform. Please just register your name if you feel like you've got a story to tell. You too can be a part of our podcast. We can come have a discussion and we can let the world know how you are winning. How is your mental health? It's not just the experts. Everybody has got a story to tell. So please visit our channel, visit our website. Everything's exciting for you. So for those who are here today, there's a t-shirt next to you. And on that t-shirt, we've got a barcode right on your sleeve. Strategically placed there, by the way, because can you imagine someone trying to scan your t-shirt on your chest? Ah, a QR code. How about someone trying to scan it at the back? That would be so weird, right? With the camera, someone's like, I want to scan your code. So we put it strategically on your sleeve, right? Please, when you go back to work, wherever you're wearing that t-shirt, just show off a little. Just say, can you scan my code? Scan my code. Let us spread the word of mental health among women. Let's spread the word and let more people tune in, share in, comment, and we can get this ball rolling. Thank you so much.